Hello Internet, this is Ed with Slow Car Fix, and today I'm here by request from one of my loyal subscribers that asked me to do something. So I'm going to do it. In case you subscriber type folks haven't noticed, I respond to every single comment, and I tried to respond with more than just a yeah thumbs up. I try to respond with a thoughtful, actual response. I don't know that I'll be able to do this forever. However, with our current amount of subscribers to the channel, that's what I've been doing. And I like it because I've met some cool people. One of my subscribers asked specifically for an update on one of my projects that I've built on the channel that I've had for a long time. So I'm going to oblige and let's talk about it. Okay, so I was a dummy last week and I left the key on. So I've had it on charge. I did drive it a week or so ago. And this is my 1981 Malibu. This is my first car I've ever owned. I still have it. And it's been through several different iterations. And this is my favorite by far, the most usable. It has something pretty cool under the hood. And it's finished about the way that I would like it to be finished. So I'm going to talk about, briefly, just about what I've done, point you in the direction of my videos that I did it on, and what I intend to do going forward, and if I'm going to make any changes. Because these projects always evolve. So let's have a look. I guess I'm neglecting it a little bit because there's some oil dripping on it from my Corvair, from my 64 Corvair. But that's okay. So I'll show you what's under the hood. This is a Gen 4 5.3 liter LS engine, all aluminum. It was dynoed at some sort of amount of horsepower that I don't remember at the rear wheels. 3 something, it's probably at like 400 at the flywheel-ish. It has manifolds on it that I don't like, or sorry, headers on it that I don't like. I think they're even starting to corrode already. They're stainless headers, from Amazon or something like that. And they're not very good. What I did on my 57 truck I like better. It was cast iron manifolds, the stock cast iron manifolds, and I cut them and modified them to fit. Going forward, that's what I'll be doing. I won't be using these cheap headers because they ping. They sound like almost like you got a lifter noise, which I chased for a long time, and it's not a lifter noise. It is just the ticking of the headers. So I don't like them. Other than that, everything else is going pretty good here. I've got, I don't know, 10 or 12,000 kilometers on it since the inception of this generation of this car. And I drove it to the East Coast. I'll pop a link in the description to the video from when I took it to the East Coast and put like 8,000 kilometers on it in 2 weeks or something like that. You'll notice I've got the small alternator on that. Needed that for hood clearance. Also have, thanks to a good friend of mine, I have this Holley adapter that turns the throttle body down, which also allowed me to have hood clearance and still run the truck manifold. I'm going to leave this just like it is because it works. One of the things that I don't like is my bumpers are kind of crappy. So I'll probably change my bumpers at some point. You can see that they've got some checking and nonsense there. So I'll probably change them. They were just out of like some pile of bumpers and crap that I have. Also, when putting them on, I chipped the paint in here. So I've got to fix that. Probably take them off and repaint that sometime. I did have a lot of headaches with the tire size. These are 15 by 6 in the front, and they're 225 60/15s. I get asked that a lot, what size they are. They are 275 60/15s, and if you notice the little rub line on here, when the car's fully loaded, you can see there, when the car's fully loaded with the whole family and all the bits and luggage and all that stuff, that's what I got. A little bit of scrape. So should you go with 275s? Your own choice. You could trim your inner wheel lips and you'll be fine, or not put stuff in the car and you'll also be fine. 255, probably safer bet. This was a Landau top car, and it had the big pillar here. I cut that out. I did a video on it. I cut that out, put the bigger glass in. Unfortunately, I did that after the car was painted, so that was kind of a pain in the ass. You can see the last time I had it out, some birds got to it, so it needs a bath. But the battery's probably charged. We can maybe see if it'll go. Now, I actually use my cars, so this is it's not spotless in here by any means. But these are the Recaro bucket seats. They've been recovered, and the back seat was recovered to match. The door panels are just old door panels that were recovered, or not recovered, they were dyed. I've got those nice little kick panel speaker things, and some sort of steering wheel. And yeah, I wonder if it'll go. Let's see if it's charged up enough. It's my check engine light. So I don't really plan to change anything. I know people have suggested, why don't you put a turbo on it? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? It just works great. Why would I want to touch anything? It, you know, it drives smooth, cruise control works, it's comfortable, it gets decent mileage, and it goes pretty good. So, you know, this car, at one point, this car had a big roll cage in it and a big gnarly engine and all that stuff. And I don't think it went as well as it does now. It just made a lot of noise and spun the tires real good. Now it just goes. It's comfortable. Everything works. I can't complain. So it just does everything that it's supposed to do. I can't really complain or fault it at all. It just works. Everything's really good. It sounds good. It's a little drony because I did the X pipe, and but it's got resonators. I don't think it sounds as good as my truck does, as my 57 truck does, but it does still sound good. Like even when you get on it. Definitely has, like, there's a difference between my truck and this. My truck is a 6-liter, stock 6-liter, and this has got a cam and it's a 5.3. This pulls harder in the higher RPM range, and like, it doesn't have as much torque, but it definitely pulls harder at high RPMs. By high, like, it stops at like 5,600 or something like that. It seems to work really well. I don't try and light up the tires too much with it, because with those big 275s, it will do a burnout. But if I do a burnout with those big 275s and it hooks wrong with this 10-bolt rear end, I'm going to blow it right out the back. The 7.5-inch sort of stock-ish rear end. Now, it does have upgraded internals. It's a 373 gear, Richmond gears with Auburn posi carrier, but I've broken Richmond gears before. They're really good, but when you got a lot of power, this isn't a lot of power, but when you got a lot of power, they will break. So I don't want to take any chances because it just works so well. So I don't do burnouts with it. My truck, on the other hand, that's all I do with it is burnouts. I just do burnouts all over the place. So I know the gentleman that asked me to do this video, he mentioned, you know, what would I change on it? Nothing really. I wouldn't use these headers. I would probably maybe get a thing so my seatbelt would stay down, because on the Recaro seats there's nothing to hold it there, it just gets me in the neck. So it's AC Delco shocks, AC Delco springs, like coil springs. It's all new GM front end stuff. It's all stock, so it does sit a little high. Some people say it looks a little too 80s, but it's an 80s car, so I could have done drop spindles and lowering springs and all those things, but it's not really what I'm into. Not for this car. I do have some low cars, but I wanted this one to be just really, really drivable, and it is. With the stock height, it's pretty good. Stock height with these big tires, it sits up quite a bit. Speaking of issues, there's one thing I would do differently. Ground clearance. I have the GM Performance Muscle Car oil pan, and that oil pan, it's too low. It's fine with my ground clearance because it sits up, my car sits quite high, but it is by far the lowest point of the car. It's about 3.5 inches down from the center cross member and the front suspension thing, the cradle, engine cradle. What I used on the truck was a Top Street Performance Holly clone pan, and it sits up a lot higher. I would use that again next time. If you're doing a Malibu LS swap, go with the Top Street Performance pan. Don't go with the GM muscle car pan, it's too low. So other than that, really it's really good. It's just a good drivable car. It's got lots of power when I want it. I'm averaging about 9.7, 9.8 liters per 100 kilometers. If you're in the States, you're gonna have to figure that out, but I think roughly that's like 30 miles to the gallon. What more can you ask for from a 40-year-old car that has, like, I don't know, between 300 and 400 horsepower or something? So I'm happy with it. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for having a look at this car with me. And please check out the videos. There's a whole playlist of videos on building that Malibu. And yeah, keep commenting, keep supporting the channel, and I'll keep doing it. Thanks very much.